Now is one of the best times to take advantage of FIFA 22 Ultimate Team. Player prices are at an all-time low, it's relatively easy to get coins, and we're still months away from any FIFA 23 news. So in this video, I'll be going through my plans and what I'm going to be doing to take advantage of FIFA 22 Ultimate Team. Before we do get into the video, if you're looking to get some very easy coins which saves you from having to make any of the actions that we talk about within this video, then there is no better place than Mule Factory. Head over there to get yourself some cheap, fast FIFA coins, completely reliable, and if you use Fnatic5 at checkout, you'll also get yourself a 5% discount. Link can be found in the description down below. Getting back into the video, every single year at this stage of FUT, I take these steps. It's always worked out well for me, and it looks like it's going to be the same this year. The steps that I take with these major promos is no secret. I openly shared the steps that I was taking during Team of the Year, and now that we're going through Team of the Season, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, except now there are a few slight differences. So the first thing that I'm doing is buying back all the players that I originally sold on. Now, some players expected a huge market crash from the moment the community Team of the Season was released, and there were a few players that dropped in price, but not as much as what people expected. This is because the market crash was already counted into player prices. If we were to look all the way back in March, people started to sell off their teams, and this is pretty much where the market crash started. From the 1st of March to the 20th, 99% of all rare gold players, with it also including quite a few special players, all of a sudden had this dip. This was the exact point where content creators, community managers, and FIFA influencers told their audience to sell players ready for Team of the Season. And of course, a huge amount of players did. I actually uploaded a video just a few weeks before this point telling you that it is now time to sell players, and some people thought that it was way too soon to take action. But you have to remember that the community knows the FIFA calendar. FIFA is so well documented nowadays, and EA don't really change their pattern for major promos such as Team of the Year, such as Team of the Season, that it is very easy to prepare. And for you to really prepare, you need to do it months in advance. So if you did sell your players, this is now the time to look to buy them back. If you don't want to buy back the players that you originally had, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to. You could look to play with other types of players that you've never used before in game. This is exactly what I'm going to do. There's a lot of icons within the game that I've always wanted to use but never had a chance to, just because they were way too expensive. It's also the same with Team of the Year players and other types of special cards within the game. And of course, this is on top of me buying into the Team of the Seasons that I want to play with. It should be said that when you do buy into these players, it's unlikely for them to increase in price. So don't see this as an investment where you're able to make that money back and more once you sell them on later down the road, because it's not going to happen. From this point all the way to the end of FIFA 23, these types of players, the players that you want to have within your ultimate team, are likely just to go down in price. But this is still the best time to buy these players now and actually have time to use them before we do go on to FIFA 23. Very similar to this, and this is a second step, look to play with cards that you've always wanted to play with. As said, this is something that I'm looking to do by buying into icons, Team of the Years, and also Team of the Seasons. But I wanted to put emphasis on this because we are still 4 to 5 months away from FIFA 23. That's a lot of time to go through a whole lot of players. They will gradually go down in price, very similar to what I said for the previous points, but it's still a good idea to do this now because you can buy into players, and even though you're likely to go and sell them on at a lower price, it's not going to be as bad as what you would have done if you bought them at the end of February and then had to encounter that market crash at the beginning of March. We're not going to have anything as bad, and even if we do, we're talking about rare gold players such as Messi, where they're valued at 70,000 coins. So even if they did drop by a ridiculous amount, it's still like 30-40k at the end of the day. It's really not too many coins. Of course, you don't want this on a weekly basis, but it's not going to be happening on a weekly basis. If you bought into a Messi and then sold him next week, as you do experiment with different types of players, it's not too much of a problem because you'll probably only be losing a few thousand coins on each card, and that does include the 5% EA tax. Really, if you are buying players to use them within an ultimate team and then using that team to go through matches, you're probably able to earn more from those matches than you actually losing coins from you selling those players on a weekly basis. So look to play with cards that you've never played with before. If you are looking for any types of players to buy into that do count as an investment, then this is a good time to buy back the cheap special cards. Now, with this is definitely no secret. From the first ever week of FIFA 22, I've been telling you to have a weekly cycle where you will buy into Team of the Week players every single Wednesday just before they're taken out of packs and just before a new team is released. A lot of the players that were part of that first ever Team of the Week, I was able to buy for 10,000 coins. And now a lot of them are valued 30, 40, 50, some of them are even extinct. Now, of course, I'm not still holding on to any of these players, but this really does just go to show how Team of the Week prices do increase over time. And you can go back to any previous Team of the Week and you will see that over time, gradually they do increase. But for the last month building up to Team of the Season, I told you not to do this and I didn't do it myself. Mainly because what happens just before Team of the Season is loads of people look to buy into Team of the Week cards, anticipating that they will be used for any type of SBC. But once Team of the Season does finally release, because there have been so many people buying into Team of the Week cards as investments ready to sell on immediately when Team of the Season is officially released, everyone looks to go and sell their Team of the Week cards, which actually makes the player prices drop. To avoid all of this, I ended up selling a lot of my Team of the Weeks way before the release of Team of the Season, but now that Team of the Season is officially here, I'm actually looking to buy back loads of special cards for around 10 to 15,000 coins each. Even though to a lot of players we're approaching the end of FIFA 22 and there will be FIFA 23 information at the end of Team of the Season, there's still around 4 to 5 months until we do get FIFA 23. That's a long time, and in the meantime there will be a lot of different events taking place and they will have an effect on these special cards, which makes them increase again. That is the point in which I will sell them on to make even more profit. Really, you could be doing this method from the moment FIFA is released all the way to the final day and then go on to the very next FIFA where you could do the exact same method again from the first day. I'm yet to make a loss on any of the Team of the Weeks that I've bought this year whilst looking at them as investments. And it's unlikely that I will make a loss from this point all the way to the end. And the final thing that I'm doing is getting ready for the re-release content. Now this does branch over to our previous point where you can buy into cheap special cards to get ready for re-release content, but it's not just about that. It's also about rebuilding your club yet again, going to get as much fodder as possible that can be used for SBCs, as well as looking to get any other types of players that you could be using in any of the objectives or other challenges that EA look to add. Because at the end of Team of the Season, content wise, things are pretty quiet. Most players are there looking to the future for FIFA 23 and there's no matches being played, so the Team of the Weeks that we get on a weekly basis, they're really not too special. EA looks to re-release content that has been part of FIFA throughout the year. They'll re-release Player of the Month, different types of promos, other types of SBCs, you name it, they will put them back into the game, whether it be through objectives or even SBCs. With other types of special cards that weren't part of objectives and weren't part of SBCs, the only way that you could get them is by opening packs. They will be re-released back into packs. This is EA's last push to get as much money out of you as possible as they re-release content just before FIFA 23. Now, I would advise not getting ready to the point in which you are stacking packs again for this event, but I do think it's worth your time to look at some of the previous SBCs that were released, some of the Player of the Months, other types of promos that were part of the game, and if there were any players that you really wanted to play with, but during the time you just didn't have the coins and you just could not buy into them, now is the point to try and buy some players back, store them into your club, and then save them ready for when this SBC gets re-released where you can buy into them and submit the players. Because this is the dead phase of FIFA 22, you should be able to get them at a fraction of a price of what they were originally when they were first released. There were a lot of great cards from the first couple months of FIFA 22 which I missed out on, and I've regretted it ever since. This is a second time coming round where I will finally be able to buy into them and actually play with them. Anyway guys, here are 4 steps that I'm currently taking to exploit the FIFA 22 market. If you do have any questions about anything, then please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.